Can we get a W Japan? Honestly, W Japan, dude. That was my favorite comment because, like, obviously we weren't just doing a watch party for the Woke Game Awards, but we were also watching Asmongold's chat react to the Woke Game Awards, which I think made it so much more fun. All right, we gotta go to Asmon's chat. Hold on. This is my favorite. L, red flags. I need a strong and muscular guy. Flop at launch. They're losing it. Because, like, anytime I saw a woman on screen, or like anytime I saw like a non-white woman on screen, especially, or like a woman with blue hair, they would just like, they would go nutty mode over it. They were like, L, 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 L. Oh no. Like, it's like, oh, I need eye bleach. It's like, how do you go about your day? How do you go about your life? Just like having a conniption, having a mental health episode every time you see like a woman or a black or brown person. Like, how the like, that's kind of crazy. That's got to be crazy. Imagine you walk into like, I'm assuming that like the Asmongold fan that walks into like a Ralph's, sees a cashier and she's a woman. He's like, no, wokeness has ruined this, the reputation of my favorite grocery chain. Like, what? How does that work? You go to the DMV. There's a black lady there. You're like, no, the DMV is ruined because of wokes. Like, what do you do when you see your mom in the morning and you know, you're like, oh my God, my sister, she doesn't have the beautification filter on her face. She looks ugly in this lighting. Woke. My family is woke. My mother is a woman. This sucks. But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching it yesterday. I had a lot of, I truly enjoy, I love that the anti-woke gamers exist. I know it's really annoying for the developers because they sometimes end up like harassing them and, you know, doxing them and then they just like dookie all over their lives' accomplishment. And I totally understand how frustrating that is because you're like, you're working for this massive corporation. You have these creative initiatives that you want to put into this work of art. This is your baby. You worked on it for years. You're very excited, even though you kind of also know you might get fired at any given moment because every single part of these companies are now consolidated into these like mega merger companies that only focus on live service, only focus on DLC content, only focus on loot boxes. Everything is right. And you're over here just like, I am trying to exist in this space to the best of my ability. This is my life's dream. I wanted to make video games. And then some basement dwelling neck bearded loser comes in and is like, you're gay. You made this video game gay. You're responsible for everything that sucks. Why doesn't it feel like I'm 12 again when video games used to hit and I didn't have any of these like adult responsibilities? And it's like, dude, that's not the developer's fault. So I get how that might be as a developer, but also on the other side, it is pretty funny to watch these guys mauled, you know? Like they have turned not being able to fap to a teenager into a political movement. Okay? Unironically, because that's what the whole Siri conversation is. If you play Witcher 3, you know, one, the Siri segments were a lot of fun, and two, the entire game is supposed to be like gearing up for Siri to be the main protagonist, right? And these guys are like, they made Siri ugly. They made Siri ugly. I can't off to the teenager. And it's like it's fine. I mean, she's, you know, she's like in her 20s by the end of the game. Okay. But I'm just saying, it's like, why are you so mad? You know what I mean? What, like, why? Like, this isn't a political movement, man. This is not a political movement. Okay. You should be more embarrassed to be like, I want goon material. I want fat material. Like back in the day, we weren't so goddamn porn brain. And I say this as someone who's like pro sex work, who understands, you know, yeah, if you want to jerk off the porn, that's great. That's fine by me. I don't give a shit, right? But it's so strange that these guys have turned gooning into a shameless political movement that is at the forefront. Like that's on their banner, dog. They're card carrying gooners. They got the NRA for gooning over here, where they just straight up are like, if I can't off to this white woman that is the main character, I will firebomb your publisher. It's like, you should be embarrassed to say this. You should be more embarrassed to openly be like, my desires, my sexual gratification is what matters in this process. Okay? And I don't understand it. Look at this. They've turned gooning into a science. Enlarged orbicularis oris, too compressed glabella, Nasion bridge too high, body of a zygomatic bone is too high. Like, what are you saying? You need to be sedated, dog. Like, I'm serious. If a person in my immediate orbit started talking like this, I'd hit him with a dart, okay? I'd be like, go to sleep. Shh. I would choke them out until they fell asleep. I'd be like, nope, you're going. You're being institutionalized. This got to be a joke anyway. Amazing, but please, Siri's face needs work. Witcher 3 face model look much better. Hopefully this gets updated. She's older, man. Come on, be serious. I'm very serious. There are some serious anatomy issues. I bet the team knows. $20 says you look like somebody ran you over with a snowplow. It's like, bro. Straight up. You have thoughts like this. You need to be sedated. You need to be sedated and institutionalized. Like, this is thought crimes, okay? This is a crime. It should be a crime to think like this. Straight up, this is the one time I'm saying it. Like, this is madness, dude. Have any of these guys gotten ass before? No, of course not. First of all, CD Projekt Red, if you come after CD Projekt Red, you come after me, okay? I'm telling you right now. I will defend the nation of Poland and CD Projekt Red with my life. Ah! That's number one. Number two, they got one PC in Poland, bro. They got one goddamn PC in Poland. And look at how much they do with that one PC in Poland. They put the goddamn country on the map in a positive way. They're like half the stock market. They're half the country's GDP. So that's number one. Number two, I don't even have a number two. I just love CD Projekt Red's work. So I think it's crazy that they're out here dookying on that maybe it's just me, but I feel like the market for masculine, non-conventionally attractive female leads in games isn't as big as the video game industry thinks it is. How do we feel about Siri in the cinematic? Siri looks fine. Geralt looked quite different in the CGI trailer versus his in-game appearance, so I would reserve judgment for now. The post is more so about the Naughty Dog game. I will admit, there were a lot of like, not masculine necessarily, but like there was a lot of non-white, non-traditional looking women as leads in a lot of these games, right? Or even white traditional looking leads in a lot of these games. But I just want the game to be good. I don't care, okay? Like, I don't know why it doesn't factor in to my equation, like to the way I enjoy a work of art, if it's led by a woman or a man or whatever they look like. Like, Dave the Diver is awesome. He's a fat dude. You know what I mean? It's hilarious. It's amazing. It plays into the story. And I don't understand. Like, just make good games. That's all I care about. Hasan does not see gender. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm simply stating is, I don't care. Okay? I don't care. And I'll take it one step further. I don't think you should care either. As long as the game is good, as long as the story is good, as long as the mechanics are good, as long as it's compelling, who gives it? Okay? Who cares? I don't know. I don't understand it. Must have triple D's as a women lead, or it's unbelievable to these people. Like, the greatest example of this is, I think, Stellar Blade. Like, it's kind of one note. They're sexy, but it's kind of one note, you know? It's a decent game overall, but again, it's bubblegum. So obviously, like, sexy ass leads don't change that dynamic at all. It's very, very frustrating. I thought Asmus said he was changing. This doesn't look like change to me. No, he went back. He went back to I mean, he was never going to stop doing the DEI equals die. I just think that there needs to be a little bit of social shame. And I'm shocked that there isn't more of it. Like, there isn't more backlash overall. Because I think that there is so much resentment that people have. There's so much resentment that people have towards like the way that the gaming space has evolved over the years, as it's become a multi-billion-dollar industry in and of itself that is like more successful than Hollywood, even global. Okay. And in that process, there's been a lot of mergers and acquisitions, a lot of layoffs, a lot of hyper focusing on revenue rather than the art in and of itself. And like people just simply cannot comprehend that like the reason why they don't like the games partially is because it doesn't hit anymore because you're a goddamn adult. You're like 45 years old and none of your dreams when you were a child were actually accomplished. So now you carry that weight around you all day. You carry that sense of shame around you all day. And that kind of probably factors into your enjoyment of video games and stuff. When you were a child and you had no responsibilities, of course, the nostalgia, of course, when you were a child and had no responsibilities, like that was way more fun. It banged, you know? Having said that, however, you're not a kid anymore. You're an adult. And in that time frame when you like try to enjoy this new work of art, maybe it's not gonna hit the same. And then there's the nostalgia component that makes you think that it was much better back then. Okay. But overall, there are structural problems with the gaming industry in general. And a lot of these guys, ironically, and this is something I talk about with politics all the time, a lot of these guys literally, instead of addressing the real villains here, addressing the real problems here, unironically do the same exact like deflection without realizing it. Where instead of getting mad at like mergers and acquisitions and crunch, okay, and not letting video games breathe, not letting the development process breathe, and not giving the workers that make these video games more time, more space, more benefits, more freedoms to be able to pursue their artistic vision. This financialization of the gaming industry is obviously going to take away some of the beloved projects that might have even started off in a really interesting way, but that is now unfolded into the codification, the FIFA-ification of all gaming. This is something that I saw even when I was a young boy, okay? When I was growing up, you got FIFA, which was the same dog, same slop that they were serving over and over again. EA Sports, it's in the game, right? That was always the same process. Now, as many publishers have folded into developers themselves, as all these developers merge and become these ginormous corporations, there is this EA-ification of all gaming, okay? And all games are turning into Madden. All games are turning into FIFA. Same game over and over again, restructured a little bit, tweaked a little bit, same engines, and it just doesn't hit the same. But getting mad at that requires for you to have a better analysis over the situation, to understand what's really, truly changing the space. But it's much easier to just simply say, I see women, it sucks. And for the record, this isn't to say that there isn't diversity for diversity's sake in video games, as there is in every single medium. Every single visual medium does this, okay? It's the same principle behind Ghostbusters, but all women, right? And many of those things become box office flops anyway. But hyper-focusing on every single new work of art that comes out of this goddamn industry on specifically the virtues of woke or not woke is going to lead you astray. It makes you look like you just hate games across the board. Okay? That's it. And it's so weird. And it's so entitled and it's so selfish. It's this notion that like, no, this is our space. You have encroached upon my space, my good madam. How dare you? No, all video games need to appeal to me. Me, only me. And it's like, okay, well, no, it's not going to happen. So everyone needs to calm down. Stop making things political. Or if you're going to make things political, I'll use the language that these anti-woke crusaders understand. You come across like a woke social justice warrior when you do that, but in the opposite direction. You're just crying and chirping. And if you're going to actually make it political, understand what actually ruins gaming in general, and not necessarily all this other. And they do respond to that, because remember, the Asmongold audience was very mad about the new Split game that was coming out. What's the Jack developer that's friends with Jeff Keighley, whatever his name is, Split Fiction or whatever? Isn't that what it's called? No, not Splitgate. Is it Split Fiction? Is that the one? Yeah, Split Fiction, right? Hazelight Studios is very good at making these like cooperative games. So they're making Split Fiction. It has 2 female leads. This was very frustrating for the Asmongold audience. They were like, oh, L, this sucks. But then, what did the guy say? Joseph Ferris, at the end of it, he turned around and said, and we're focusing on making good narrative-driven games that are fun to play. Only one copy is necessary if two people want to play it, because we're not in this to do microtransactions, live services, loot boxes, none of that bullshit. We're in this business to make good games that, you know, you can enjoy with your friends. And they ate that up. Asmongold's audience ate that up as well. So that's the frustrating aspect of this. The frustrating part about this is that a lot of these gamers, they hyper focus on the immediate optics of a situation and ironically become the other side of the coin that they constantly rail against, which is diversity for diversity's sake. But that's all you're doing. You're also advocating for diversity's sake. Or you're advocating for identity politics for the sake of identity politics. You just want the characters to be sexy, brolic men. And the other side of this is when people cheer when developers get laid off, not recognizing that the very same forces that are laying off those developers are the very same people, the executives that don't play video games, that are simply in the finances of it, okay, that are simply invested in the revenue strategies that ruin your beloved games and ruin the industry that you enjoy. Stats show that most people choose to play as a female character when there's an option. It's not woke, it's statistically correct. I find the casual anti-gacha discrimination problematic. Okay, well, good luck. I'm not going to ever defend you because I think gacha in and of itself is also horrible. I don't understand it, but you know, to each their own, but I do feel like that's just also streamlined gambling. That's what I have to say about the gaming side of this. And also, you have drank too much of the Mighty Keith is like one of the last remaining like anti-woke gaming crusaders out there. Respect to Mighty Keith as always. He's been tackling the weirdos that have just been talking about like how Siri is not enough or whatever, which is crazy because it's like, dog, you do not have to off to every video game. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, or maybe, just maybe compartmentalize the masturbation part because there's already a time and place for that. You got Rule 34, right? There's so much pornographic material for you to fap to, but they exist on the porn sites. You can, you know, that's how it used to work. Where if you wanted to jerk off to something, you had to go to the jerk off place. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? We're becoming like people are not embarrassed or ashamed to just be like, nah, every woman has to be fappable. Every woman on screen has to be instantly offable. And for me, I say skill issue, okay? Because you can masturbate to anything as long as you have motion and lotion and motivation, okay? So that's a skill issue for you regardless. That's number one. Number two, not everything has to be instant gratification. You don't have to like hypersexualize every female character. And you should feel a little bit more embarrassed to say like, no, I need to be able to goon, okay? I need to be able to goon while Siri is just like destroying a dragon. While Siri is like cutting off the head of a werewolf, I need to be able to fap to that. And it's weird. That's a weird thing. That's a weird thing that you should not. You should be ashamed to just like even have those thoughts. Them boys are calling Witcher 4 woke. Lamau, they are never to be trusted. I can't imagine being a video game enjoyer and thinking that everything comes out sucks. That's got to be so depressing. Why would you even continue to play games? Siri looking fine. They are so weird, lol. That's the other side of it. Like, she looks hot. Like, the do you mean? Ironically, people want diversity, but making everything the same because of so many options and this and that needs to be in the game. The reason games become all the same. It's just like there's a time and place for everything. There's a off space online. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand it. I will never understand it. You will never be able to make me understand it. I think it's because I'm far too normal. You know what I mean? Where when I see a new video game coming out, I don't immediately go, can I off to the main character if she's female? That's a weird attitude to have. And I think you got to squash that. Okay. If that's the attitude you have in your mind, you got to erase that. You got to be like, man, this is a weird opinion to have. I think maybe I shouldn't think this way. Zylax, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. Dynamic Chap, thank you for the 5 gifted subs as well. Okay. I feel like gamers are gamers, capital G gamers, hard R gamers. They just like slot certain things. They see the optics. They're like lizard brain. They see They go, is the video game's protagonist a sexy white man? If no, is it a sexy black or brown man? If no, if it's a woman, is she a white woman? Okay. And then it just like, it's the wokeness markers. Okay. They go, oh, is she a white woman? Is she sexy? Can I jerk off to her? It's like a flow chart. If the answer is no, then it's woke and I hate it. Okay. If the answer is yes, then it's not woke and I love it. And at the bottom of that pile, obviously, is any sort of visual representation of like someone in a wheelchair or someone who has a non-gender conforming haircut, or someone who has like if it's a woman and they're kind of brolic, then oh God forbid, then it's woke and I hate it. Bro, people is just dumb, and that opinion is weird as fuck. If they're complaining how it looks is the dumbest thing ever at the end. What stays is the gameplay and mechanics, not even the graphics. They're just weirdos that won't spend a dime and are complaining about it. Yeah. Odd situation overall. I think people should be a little bit more ashamed. But yeah, people are very mad about the Intergalactic Heretic project, or the new project from Naughty Dog. Not thinking about it like, oh, what a joy. Naughty Dog finally made a new IP. And they've done a bunch of great IPs in the past. Like, they've done a bunch of great games. Naughty Dog makes a new game and people are like, well, there's a bald Asian woman as the main character, so automatically I hate it. And you got the GOAT, the absolute GOAT, the stud, Trent Reznor, doing the score. Okay? I don't know if you guys watch Challengers, but I'm a fan. Okay? Oh my God. Oh my God, you like Trent? Yes. I'm not Mr. Music Listener, but I can appreciate a good score, okay? It's time I got bored of jerk computer games, ended the moment I could go out and get real women. These guys are just 14-year-old virgin brains. No, that's the problem. The problem is they're not even 14. They're desperately seeking out the feelings that they have when they were 14, but they're not. They're like 35. They're 40. Part of the reason why I loved Wukong, which many of these guys considered to be anti-woke, ironically enough, and that's why they liked it. But the reason why I liked Wukong was because it was the format of something that we've seen before. It was God of War, right? It was God of War with the mechanics of a Souls-like game, right? Now, there are a million games like that, but why did I like it? I liked it because it actually featured a mythology that you don't usually see that much in Western media. You see remnants of that mythology that has been very impactful, like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and numerous other works of art that make its way to the Western world. But like the very fact that it was Chinese mythology, it hyper focused on Chinese mythology. Like, I think that's unique. That's when diversity is good. That's a perfect representation of diversity being good. Okay, that's it. That's why I liked it. That's part of the reason why I liked it so much, was because it was cool to dive into a unique universe. Okay? When is diversity even bad, motherfucker? No, I understand the argument when like people just go, oh, we're going to make the same IP and it's going to suck, but it's now gender bent. You know what I mean? It's like, that sucks. It's boring, but that's not because of diversity. It's boring because they're juggling the same IP over and over again. Do you not understand what I mean? That's not even, that's just diversity for the sake of diversity, or that's diversity just for the aesthetics. And oftentimes it's chock full of bad writing in general. But I think these guys are so one note on this issue that they just don't like they don't give anything room to breathe. And plenty of this, yeah, it is derivative, but so is all art, okay? But listen to me. A lot of these dudes, a lot of these gamers, capital G gamers, hard R gamers, a lot of them don't need to see or play or experience the work before they make up their minds. They just immediately go, oh, I saw something that is, I have slotted as like anti-woke, or I saw something that I slotted as woke, and therefore I don't like it. Okay? And that's deeply, deeply frustrating. Okay? It's very annoying. And these guys that take advantage of the anger and resentment that people have by grifting to this kind of commentary, but they're grifting to this kind of sentiment and highlighting it and legitimizing it over and over again. They rarely ever get punished either for making the false prediction that a particular game is woke. Do you understand? They'll come out. Fallout is a great example of this. They'll be like, Fallout is woke. It sucks. Like the Fallout movie or the Fallout Amazon Studios show is woke and it sucks. And then it comes out and people watch it and it's amazing. So then they quietly go, okay, never mind. It's actually amazing because it's not woke. Baldur's Gate 3 is a perfect example of this. It's the most woke game that came out and everybody loved it. Okay? Everybody loved it. Why is it not woke? Why is it not considered woke? Because everybody loved it. You could goddamn bear in it. It's the gayest game of all time. It's the most trans game of all time. But everybody liked it. So now it's not woke. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to talk about how woke Baldur's Gate was. They just moved the goalposts. And then they take advantage of like other games that are shitty. Like, what was that game? Concord or whatever? Concord wasn't shitty because they had them looking characters or whatever the people are saying. It was just shitty. It was just not good. It was not a good game. Okay? It wasn't shitty because it was woke. And I saw something about going back to the obvious ridiculousness. The Witcher is really about Ciri, which is why it makes sense as to why it is her leading the game. Ciri is bisexual. Read the books. This is a weird comment. Also, your username is giving loser. Feminazi Killer Knight 6233 says, disgusting and a big disappointment. We lost Ghost of Tsushima first, and now Witcher as well, making women as protagonist. Really, all Western gaming industries failing with woke agenda, gay and women. That CD Projekt Red, thank you for ruining this game. Hard pass. I'm imagining the mindset of this guy, bro. I swear to God, I'm imagining the mindset of this guy. He's walking in. If he ever leaves his goddamn basement, he's walking to the DMV and losing his mind when he sees like a black woman behind the counter. He's like, this is DEI. It's woke. Why can't I off? And if the DMV lady is white, they're like, why can't I off to the DMV lady? Your physics are not up to par, ma'am. I'm going back to Unreal Engine 5. Yeah, he has a Red Dead 2 avatar, which is also a very woke game too, but that's, don't even get started on that. Arthur Morgan is like the woke hero. The entire game is about how woke he is. Anyway, the standard for all female characters should not be the merit of the existence of female characters should not be about like how fappable they are. Okay? And if that is unironically your like political movement, if that's unironically your perspective, you're a pervert. I don't know how else to describe this. Like you cannot exist in like civilized society. Like take a shower, And Tectone is the perfect person to say this to. It's like, bro, this is not like something that you should be openly advocating for. You know what I mean? Like you should be ashamed to be like, oh, the video game industry is not appealing to my off fantasies. Some games are going to feature this and that's fine. And some games are going to feature this. Like who gives a Oh my Lord. I think people are just, the more time we spend online, the more shameless we become with our digital footprint. The less time we spend with other human beings in the real world, the more creepy people get. And I think this is the final stage of that creeper-like behavior where you're just like not only unashamed of these desires, but you have turned this into like a political movement in your mind. Because on its face, this right here, on its face, this statement right here literally is like every video game female lead has to be a female lead that I can jerk off to. Like I'm porn brained. My brain is broken. I need to be able to coom. It's very weird. It's a very strange way to exist. And it's extra strange to like openly admit that this is your desire. And it's even stranger to say like, this is at the forefront of my political movement. This is at the forefront of my advocacy. Okay. And there's a real world example of this as well that I want to point to. Sydney Sweeney, okay? As you guys know, we're big fans of Sydney Sweeney. The problem is Sydney Sweeney is a real human being. And when you're a real human being, sometimes you're not going to be under horrible light. You're not going to look the same as you do on the cover of a magazine. Sydney Sweeney shows off bikini body lounging outside a $13 million Florida Keys mansion. And this guy actually responded to this, and I didn't even like his response either. But he's referencing like all of the people that were like, what? Like all women are catfishes. Like what the? Like this is crazy. It's really crazy how like 85 to 95% of men can't seem to figure out that 80% of what they find attractive is painstakingly, carefully curated presentation, 10% plastics and filler, and about 10% base model female. As soon as the presentation isn't carefully curated, they get turned off and confused. Emily Sears is correct, by the way. This is broad daylight and absolute most unflattering lighting possible. Give her a break. Like, Sydney Sweeney is incredibly attractive. Like, she is fine as hell. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Awooga, you know what I mean? The way that like people respond to this, shit is so crazy. Like, we need to sedate the masses. You know what I mean? Like, you need a sedative immediately. If you look at this photo and you're like, this is all women are catfishes. The question is to what degree? Like, you look at these photos and you think, oh, gross. You're a freak. Okay? Do you not have mothers? Do you not have sisters? Have you never been around a woman? Do you not understand that, like, of course, people are not going to always look their best, their very best? And she still looks fantastic here. I don't understand it. Like, have these guys forgotten what real human beings look like? Now, the reason why I'm saying, do you not have a mom or a sister or a cousin or something, is because I know they don't have girlfriends, okay? I know they do not have girlfriends, because if they ever had girlfriends, they would know that, yeah, of course, someone being dolled up is going to look different than when, you know, they're waking up in the morning. And it doesn't even matter. It's not even saying, I'm not even saying that, like, oh, when you're not dolled up to your very best, when you're maxed out with the best lighting possible, like, that's the only time you look fuckable and great or whatever. Like, you're a freak. Just be a human being. Be a normal human being. What the hell is wrong with people? And obviously, the real academic, not to get super like academic on this, but the real reasons as to why people feel this way is because, one, their society just like automatically slots women, patriarchy, automatically slots women into objects of desire who are and only good for that, or completely worthless. And it's insane. It's an unrealistic depiction of Sydney Sweeney here. She's obviously catfishing. Where's the lens flare reflecting off the perspiration on her like that Korea sword game? Yeah. I feel like most men who act like this, I've never been in a position to wake up next to a woman in the morning. Have never been in a position. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, just like capital G gamers, these people expect every person and everything to cater to the taste and expectations. They just don't understand what's the matter with the way she looks. There's no issue with the way she looks. It's just that she doesn't look like the last time this guy jerked off to her. That's it. That's the thing that they're frustrated by. They're like, they don't understand how like a physical body works. They don't understand that like you can bulk up for a specific role as an actress. They don't understand that, like, you know, a creep shot in broad daylight is not going to look the same. But this works in every facet of our lives. This is why so many people at early ages develop body dysmorphia, because they see airbrush photos of like fitness influencers, or they see how people look and they think this is how I'm supposed to look at all times, when that's not how it works. Okay? That's not how it works. You're looking at an unrealistic expectation. I'm not advocating to I don't know, stop Photoshop or anything like that, or I'm not advocating to abolish the way that magazines work, or the way that media works, and where every frame is supposed to be perfect. I'm not saying that at all, but I hope that people can understand that is not how that's not how the real world works. And for me, it's like, you have to be a complete shut-in. Okay, you have to be a complete brain broken shut-in who is so far removed from having any real world experiences that you think, well, I don't understand. Like, where you're like, I don't get it. What's going on? She's being a catfish, I think. It's craziness. It's actually nutty. I feel like there was some semblance of social pressure that used to exist where if you had attitudes like this openly, other people would check you. In a group of friends, if you were like, yo, you see that Sydney Sweetie photo, dude? Like, she looks busted in it. Other friends that you used to have in the real world would probably be like, yeah, dude, that's normal. I don't know if you've ever encountered a woman or whatever, or just a human being, not even just a woman, just a human being in general. Like, that's normal. They're not always going to look the way that they do in a photo that you off to. Stop being gay, dog. That would be a normal conversation to have in this situation. I'm not saying I would exhibit this homophobic tendency, but like, you know, that's how it would work in a normal situation. But because people are only online nowadays, yes, there is this social degradation. We have become more degenerate. As someone who works on and edits photos all day, there's been this big shift outside of the modeling industry to embrace the imperfect. I think fashion and movies and branding is slowly following suit, but these coomers stop the momentum because they are the dumbest consuming whales. Yeah. To be fair, the men making these comments are supermodels. Yeah. Well, for them, obviously you don't have to be, right? Obviously, for men, they don't have to be. They have to just be successful. And even if they are not successful, that also doesn't matter. Even if they're shut-in losers, okay, with no discernible footprint, and the only thing that they're doing is just like yelling into the wind, it still doesn't matter. Because as long as they say stuff like this, they get affirmation from other men who are also, losers in the same way. And that makes them feel like they are reaching some level of success. This is the model for the Naughty Dog game, by the way. Tati Gabrielle. But here's the other side of this, okay? Here's the other side of this. A lot of this stuff stays online. The problem is we are all becoming more online. We are losing sight. We are losing sight of what it means to not be online. We're losing sight of like what it means to exist in the real world. And things online are increasingly changing the real world as well. So I am very fearful of what this spells for the future of interpersonal relationships, culture, societal attitudes broadly. Because in the past, like, there was a level of shame that people could enforce upon you, a little social shame. There's another point you're not bringing up, and it's that men will focus on women's appearance as a form of control. No, absolutely. I addressed the way that patriarchal constructs work in this circumstance, but you're right. That is another aspect of this as well. It's like, oh, if you're scantily clad, then you need to put on some clothes. And if you're not full and not jerk offable, then, you know, what the fuck are you doing? You need to be an object of my sexual desire. 1000% Skyrim modding created these incel losers. They want to mod women in real life too. What the hell is this? KS Hairdo is a hair pack that contains 983 hairstyles. The Eyes of Beauty SSE, official port of the TOB SSE with permission from Logram. 66,000 upvotes, 5.3 million downloads, 6.8 million downvotes, 6.8 million downloads. Expressive face gen morphs SE. No third places in the US has all of us isolated. That's why these takes aren't just instantly shamed into oblivion, because now instead of shame, they get retweets and upvotes. Yeah, by other like-minded losers. And also, that creates a permission structure for this kind of sentiment to thrive. And that permission structure makes it so that other people look at that and go, well, I don't know if this is a normal person or a troglodyte pervert saying this, but other people seemingly agree with it. So maybe it is the correct thing. What is this? They are DEI gender swapping. Thank you for sending me your rubbish. Go watch some cosplayers turn trash into treasure. Wait, have you never seen a mod site? Instead of cool improvements like we used to get modders, just add law. And the other part of this is that Blue Sky post that I saw yesterday that someone sent me that was really interesting. Apparently, this is almost identical to that study that was conducted. I don't know if you guys know this, but There's that one famous study where like in business environments, women that speak significantly less than men are still seen as speaking more than men. You know what I'm talking about? And it seems like there is women are almost always seen as getting more time to speak, even if they speak significantly less than men. And that's because like it's the idea is that women are not supposed to speak at all, or at least like you're trained into thinking that they're not supposed to speak at all. So when they do speak, you're like, oh, okay. It's not even like this outward bias, right? It's implicit. It's something that you don't intentionally lean into. You just kind of feel like it's the truth. We are, yes. It's because women speaking is out of the ordinary. We're naturally more likely to notice abnormal events. That is the nicest way to put it. Now, what's really interesting about that, if I recall correctly, that stat is that women speak 30% of the time. They are perceived as having spoken for the majority of the time. Yeah. So what's really interesting about that is that because the gaming space is so, historically so focused on tailoring to this, catering to the specific needs of like men in general, right? Even when you have like any female roles, we think like, oh, this is happening a lot more than I'm used to. And I think that's a big part of the problem. Because there were stats on this, and apparently it's like 7% of all new games that have come out have a female protagonist. And I think like the LGBT tag on Steam is even lower than that. It's like 1.3% or something of the new games that have come out. Yeah, this is the Jacob Geller post from Blue Sky. Here. Fascinating video on Steam trends, especially these statistics of all the games released in Steam in 2024.
Did you know?
It seems that just 2.5% had the tag LGBTQ+, and 7% had the female protagonist tag. This is supposedly the political trend that is overwhelming and destroying gaming. That's what they are saying. Now, it has increased, right? It is certainly increased. But the irony is, it's not necessarily a major increase that these gamers are complaining about. Now, you might say these tags are bullshit, okay? And that there's a lot more female protagonists that are out there in all these games. But I'm not so inclined to believe that. I think we just treat non-female protagonist games as invisible, the norm. We don't see it in the same way. There's that famous study about men perceiving women as dominating the conversation in situations where women spoke half as much as men. These stats are even more absurd. Can you explain this by referring to the fact that men and masculinity lack subjectivity? Performativity has rendered men a lost identity. Yeah, this is the video. I scraped the entire Steam catalog. Here's the data.
Know that half of the top 50 games on Steam are indie titles? Or that there are only 4 fighting games with a romantic theme? Here's a fun one. Did you know that the word life appears in more game titles than death? Yet war is mentioned twice as often as love? Today, we're diving into the data and exploring some fun insights into the game development.
Anyway, this is just like a very nerdy but very cool video from Newbie Indie Game Dev, okay? That basically scoured the entirety of the Steam catalog and created these like data clouds, word clouds, like all this stuff to just like see where the space of gaming is, like what the space is, what the space looks like. And I think it's pretty valid to look through the Steam catalog. Is the most comprehensive catalog out there. Obviously, I love data 127. I don't love data. Stop. Reactionaries don't care about data. They only care about the vibe, dog. Yeah, I know. What is 127? It's my high score that I got on the autism test. Okay, that's what they're referencing. But I think this is the most interesting aspect of it. You know, the notion that only 2.5% had the LGBTQ plus tag and 7% had the female protagonist tag means at least like the female protagonist one is the most important one in my opinion. That means that games are still overwhelmingly featuring male protagonists. Now, the argument here isn't to be like, no, it has to be 50-50 or anything. I don't give a shit. Okay? I don't give a shit at all. I want games to just be good. And if games are bad and you're feeling like games are becoming bad, when I don't even necessarily agree with that, I think the space has grown and absolutely ballooned in size in comparison to where it was when I was younger. Okay. As an old man at the age of 33, like I never would have thought that gaming would get to the positions that it's gotten to, where you can have like a singular developer make a multiple award-winning game like Balatro. Like that's crazy. Okay. I'm 33 years old. And when I was growing up, you got once every decade, you got like this world-changing game. You know what I mean? Now you can get it in a week. Side-by-side comparison of Akira and Intergalactic. Yeah, that's pretty sick too. They just completely ripped the Akira vibe, which I love. Did you play Roller Coaster Tycoon growing up? Yes. I don't know, man. Back in the day, we had Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy VII, Mario 64, GTA. So many ghosts so close together. I know, but my point is, wait, I wasn't saying that there aren't like incredible games that came out back then. I'm just saying that like they would come out in a big blast sometimes, but overall there was a lot of time that took place in between. And gaming since then, like the industry since then, has grown so much that there is seemingly one of these like AAA titles or quadruple A titles or world changing games with incredible technology backing them, coming out with regular frequency. At least that's the way I feel about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Chad has Beatles bias. Yeah. We used to wait 2 to 3 years for a smash hit. Now we have one every other month. Yeah. And it's also international too. There's like, you know, there's a bangers coming out of every goddamn country at this point. Like, dude, think about it. Like Poland is making these incredible video games now. They got one computer over there and they're using it for good. I'm not sure about that. A lot of games were released in the late 90s, all pretty much at the same time. No, but it would take a long ass time in between is what I'm trying to say. All right, anyway. Let's continue. Yeah, motherfuckers in Ukraine make video games like Stalker while they are literally being invaded. Like that is how insane the gaming space has become. Where you can be under fire, okay, being straight up invaded, and you can make a goddamn video game. Chatter's thinking less good games come out now. Have no idea how many more games in general come out now than in the 90s. Exactly. But yeah, let's see what Squeaks was doing.
As a little child, because there weren't games jobs.
He was doing the same shit I was doing.
I stayed passionate about it and broke through in basically my late 30s.
Blue hair, pink hair, wrap it up.
Get laid off before Thanksgiving, and I said to my wife Jess, like, this is unacceptable. Hi everybody, it's Amir, and I'm here to help support you as you look for.
I do appreciate Asmongold's chat existing though, honestly, because it at least like improved my video game award experience. It certainly improved my video game awards experience. It was like content, how cancerous it was, but also simultaneously there were some brief moments where it was hilarious. Like that one guy who said, honestly, W Japan. That was a very earnest moment from at least one Asmongold chatter who just saw all of the awards that like Japanese developers were winning, and he said, honestly, W Japan.
As you look for your next opportunity in video games, I can't imagine.
So it's like if they were just like confined to like one part of the internet where they couldn't do harm to the developers or whatever, or have any sort of motion and like put people in the crosshairs of harassment or whatever, it'd be fine. It'd be great if they were quarantined and you could just like look at it from afar like a bunch of zoo animals and laugh. Then that's fine. Back in the day, it was 4chan. They were contained. Now they're all over Twitter, and they're able to monetize the idiocy. It's very frustrating. Also, this is the last thing I'm going to show.
Wait. Huh? There's Kojima. Look. Ooh. Did you know that Jeff Keighley's friends with him?
Yeah, but does Kojima know that?
He didn't like it because he's like, I don't know what the these guys are saying. Put some respect on him. You don't mention the GOAT. I love the clip I saw Emerald talking to Asma saying, you really are the Lich King. When you were suspended, my chat got wild with some strange ass people. They all had nowhere to go. They are more famous than he is. In that room, they are not more famous than Kojima. Kojimbo is fluent in English. He just doesn't speak it because of insecurity. It's Kojima Sensei. What did you think of the award show overall, bro? Is a little bit long. I will admit. I feel like every year it gets longer and longer, and I don't know if it's like my bias or if it's actually backed by hard data. I'm sure this would be very easy to figure out. It's a lot, dude. I also think it was rigged a little bit for Astrobot, but that's neither here nor there. You know, that's just how I feel about it. I think Black Myth Wukong would have been great. Balatro. I didn't even play Balatro, but like obviously a lot of people loved it. It is what it is. We'll do Greta Thunberg on Gaza in a little bit, but let's get to the news. I'm done with the silly gaming space. Let's do some real news now.